Well, school just got canceled because of coronavirus, so that's fun. I might as well post something for YouTube. I've got nothing better to do. Now let's see, I've already done cooking, what else can I do? I know. I can rank all the Broadway shows I've seen. That'd be a fun topic that I think some people might be interested in. I don't think it'll take long.
And publish. Thank f***ing God!
Disclaimer. The following video is strictly my opinion. Please don't hate on the video because my opinions don't match yours. I know that's what the internet likes to do, but sometimes people on the internet are idiots. I also have no intention of offending the content in question, the people who made the content, or the content's fan base. Without further ado, enjoy.
Hi, I'm Steven. You probably guessed that by the name of the channel. And I love Broadway shows. Like, you have no idea how much of a hardcore theater geek I am. And because of this, I've decided to rank all the Broadway shows I've seen as of August of 2019. Why that specific date? Because I live on the other side of the US, and Broadway tickets are expensive as shit. And it was the last time I went to see Broadway shows before old Corona happened. But before we start, I will need to get some rules out of the way. Rule 1, I'm only counting Broadway shows that I've seen in Broadway theaters. So no off-Broadway, touring shows, pre-Broadway tryouts, and fucking I don't know what else. This also includes bootlegs and filmed stage versions, so no falsettos, Sweeney Todd, nothing like that. Rule number 2, I will be counting musicals and straight plays because while I do like some straight plays, there are some on this list that are much higher than needed to be. Rule 3, I will be judging these shows strictly on how much I enjoy them. I could judge them on originality, but I mean, come on. I'm surprised The Purge hasn't become a musical, and I would honestly go see that. I will pay someone to make that show. And before we get underway, just know this is probably the hardest thing I've had to put together for YouTube. And I like a lot of these shows, so just be aware that a lot of the rankings can be switched around. Anyways, let's go! Oh, f***ing shit. This show is so bad, it doesn't even deserve an introduction. Marvin's Room. What's that? You've never heard of this show? Exactly! Fuck this show! This is probably the worst Broadway show I have seen to date. Now, after further research on the internet, I found out that this show was originally based off of a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Meryl Streep. And it should have stayed a movie, because if you look closely, you can actually see a flamingo on the cover of the playbill. Now, when I saw the show, I noticed that they were selling little flamingo plushies and other flamingo-based merch like that. And what significance does this have in the show? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There was no purpose for the flamingo to be on the cover of your f***ing playbill, just like there's no reason for this piece of shit show to exist. Deep breath, Steven. It's only the first entry. In conclusion, the show has no redeeming qualities, it's more useless than YouTube drama, and it's about as consistent as the censoring in my videos.
Oh, f***. I can't believe you've done this.
And now that we've gotten the worst straight play I've ever seen out of the way, let's go on to the worst musical I've ever seen. Mean Girls. I'm just going to repeat what I said in the very first entry. Fuck this show! Yeah, that pretty much sums up my feelings about it. Look, I know this musical has a large fan base, and a lot of them probably already hate me right now, but y'all read the disclaimer. These are my opinions here. I just feel as the musical didn't click with me like it did with other people, which is really weird because both this musical and the movie it was based on were both written by Tina Fey, and I really liked the movie. I just feel like this works a lot better as a movie, because there are some things that don't need to be adapted. However, There's one thing I liked about this musical. One thing, and that is the choreography. And if you didn't know, the choreography was done by my favorite choreographer, Casey Nicola. And if anyone is familiar with his kind of shows that he choreographs, he is required by law to include at least one tap number in every show that he does. And sure enough, this show is a tap number, and I loved it. Aside from that, the choreography was decent. Stop, 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 stop. So, Dear Evan Hansen, it's a show that exists. I'm gonna be honest. I had a really hard time thinking about what to say about this show because a lot of the stuff in it is just not that good. It has a set that shouldn't be for this show, the singing and orchestrations were decent at best, and Ben Platt's understudy Colton Ryan, which was the person who I saw when I saw the show, did a better job than Ben Platt. Fight me! And the story. Oh my god, you do not know how much I think this plot is absolute shit. Evan Hansen is a suicidal high schooler who takes advantage of Connor Murphy, who actually committed suicide, by getting sympathy from Connor's family because they thought Evan was a friend of Connor, because a letter that Evan wrote to himself was found in Connor's pocket when he committed suicide, and Connor wrote his name on about 85% of Evan's cast, because before the show started, Evan broke his arm from falling out of a tree. Still with me? Good. Evan, with the help of his friend Will Rowland, who is the best character in the show. And I know his character has a name, but it's literally just Will Rowland playing himself. Fun fact, I got to do a Q&A with him after the show. Where was I? Oh yeah. Evan, with the help of his friend Will Rowland, writes fake emails from Connor in order to get sympathy from Connor's family, hook up with Connor's sister, and become a viral sensation after giving an inspiring speech at a school assembly for something called the Connor Project, which is something that's supposed to help keep alive the memory of a dead kid no one cares about. So yeah, I don't really like this show that much. But I would be lying if I say I didn't like the songs in this show. I mean, yeah, in my opinion, the plot is stupid and the characters are so poorly written, but these songs are fucking catchy as hell. Keep in mind, these are the same people who did The Greatest Showman. And I also didn't like the plot of that show, but that's beside the point. The plot of this show is stupid, Will Rowland's character is the best, and the songs are amazing. That's all you need to know about my opinions, okay?
You're average kind of fun, but because we're gay.
Okay, so from here on out, it was really hard to rank all the shows on this list. Like, I pretty much love all of these shows from here on out. Some are better than others. But I'm gonna try to make this the most positive number 13 ever. Starting with the first Broadway show I've ever seen, Wicked. Currently the 5th longest running show on Broadway, and the show that made Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth famous. I had really high hopes for this show, but after seeing it, I realized something. This show has been on Broadway so much longer than needed, and Avenue Q totally deserved the win of Best Musical. Fight me. This show's just okay. It's not great. It's not terrible. And I don't really understand why people like it so much. And in my personal opinion, despite not being very memorable, it did 4 very memorable things for me. The first is not a good thing, but it started the trope of the misunderstood movie villain, which in turn led to Disney sucking the money out of everyone's wallets with those shitty remakes. You know which ones I'm talking about. The second is that it helped with Kristen Chenoweth's Broadway career, although, to be fair, I think Good Man Charlie Brown revival kinda did that already. Third is that I think the set design for this show is amazing. I mean, there is a motherfucking dragon looking down on you the entire show. And it's awesome. One of the few nitpicks I have is that although I think the songs are good, they are way too overplayed. Like Defying Gravity, Not That Girl, And the song that will never be named, which is why I said Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth were famous instead of that other word that I will never say. But despite all these nitpicks, I think the show was decent and you should go check it out for yourself. Wait, did I say all 4 memorable things? I said the villain trope. I said Kristen Chenoweth. So the set design. Oh, I forgot the last one. Okay. Well, the 4th memorable thing is that I think how it's really funny how they overlook the fact that Elphaba's sister gets a house smashed into her face with the might of Zeus.
Her sister was a witch!
You know, I feel like J.K. Rowling is trolling with us at this point. I mean, to be fair, that J.K. at the beginning of her name, it could stand for just kidding. Which makes sense. Because I'm talking about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Why is it Showbill that's always bothered me? Why? Now, I know a lot of people hate this show because they think it's Harry Potter fanfiction. And they're right. I mean, it was written by J.K. Rowling. Kind of. I mean, the story was written by her along with 2 other guys, but one of the guys who actually wrote the story also wrote the script for it. It's a whole mess. And as confusing as this sounds, this show is essentially a combination of every single J.K. Rowling troll tweet. If you don't know what I'm talking about, what the f*** have you been doing with your life? But did I like this show because of its story? Hell no, the story was shit. Did I like this show because it's 4 acts long? No, that's way too long, even by Broadway standards. Then you're probably wondering, how is this show not at the bottom of the list? Because Marvin's Room is a f***ing awful show and should
burn in the flames of hell.
But the reason why the show won Best Play, and more importantly, why I like the show, is because it won what I like to call the design Tonys. Those being set, lighting, sound, and costume. All of these aspects combined together create what I think to be the most visually satisfying show ever. But I should say, if you don't have a copy of the playwright like I do, except I have the signatures of everyone in the original Broadway cast, I highly, highly, highly recommend you watch the show first. Because believe me when I say this, your expectations will be so much higher when you read the book. Although seriously, what was with J.K. Rowling in those troll tweets?
For God's sake, Harry, what is with this language? You're a f***ing wizard!
Well, seeing as how we're 5 entries in and I'm making somewhat decent time, I guess you could say I'm on a roll. Or should I say Tootsie Roll? That joke was f***ing stupid. Why did I make that joke? That was so stupid. Now, before I saw the show, I didn't know it was based on a movie about David Hasselhoff cross-dressing as a woman in order to get on a famous soap opera. I thought it was an original musical about Hans from Frozen cross-dressing as a woman in order to become a famous Broadway actor. Actress? I don't know. He cross-dresses as a woman. That's the important part. If I could sum up this show with a part of the show itself, this is what would happen. It starts at the beginning of the 2nd act, which starts with some beautiful orchestrations, and I mean the songs and orchestrations in this are really amazing. And then it's 4 minutes of nothing. 4 goddamn minutes of the characters just sitting around doing nothing. And then it looks like a character is about to do something, but then it goes back to doing nothing. And then one of the characters sings a song which I like to call the Act 1 exposition song, which basically recaps everything in the 1st act. And then the song ends with the line, "You f***ed it up." Then just take that 8-minute portion, stretch it out into 2.5 hours, and you got yourself a musical, baby! Okay, so joking aside, the 1st act of this show is really boring, and I mean, the only memorable part that I remember was something that wasn't even in the script. I would have recorded it, but then I would have gotten kicked out of the theater. But as the show goes on, it does pick up the pace and the laughs are a lot more genuine. So this show is a mixed bag for me, but I think it's really funny.
But then, and how do I say it? You f***ed it up. You really f***ed it up.
So, despite everyone who's been in high school having been required to read this book, I still feel like I have to put up a trigger warning, because this video is going to cover some very uncomfortable topics that some people do not want to hear about. Here's the timestamp to the end of this segment. But anyways, let's talk about To Kill a Mockingbird. For those who haven't read the book and or haven't been to high school yet, To Kill a Mockingbird is the story about a white lawyer defending a black man for supposedly raping a white woman in 1930s Alabama. Now you can see why I put up the trigger warning. Now, I'll give them this. I would say it is a smart move to cast 30-something-year-olds as the little kids. But you have no idea how uncomfortable it is to have a bunch of white people say the N-word over and over and over and over and over again. And the thing that's even scarier is that they're being paid to say the N-word over and over and over and over and over again. Now you can really see why I put up the trigger warning. Now I could bring up the fact that when this show moved to Broadway, it nullified everyone's licensing rights for the show. I could also bring up the fact that this version of the stage play is completely different from the book and the previous version of this play. But the thing that I want to bring up is that this show has way too much comedy in it. And that's a weird thing for me to say, considering that I consider myself a comedian. And I know that there are some jokes in the original version of the stage play, but this newer version has so many more. I mean, seriously? It's To Kill a Mockingbird. It's not supposed to be funny. I mean, to be fair, it is being housed in the same theater that housed Spamalot. That's 100% true. So do I like this show? Yes. But I would say that it does make me very uncomfortable from time to time. And I would also like to add that Jeff Daniels was absolutely amazing. He was in this version of the show, if you didn't know.
And if you ask me to, Daddy's gonna buy you a mockingbird. I'ma give you the world.
So, let's talk about Kinky Boots. I mean, come on, a can of clever segues for every entry. Okay, so I am thoroughly surprised that this musical won the 2013 Tony for Best Musical. Mostly because of the competition that it had. I mean, it had Bring It On, which was written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, Matilda, which had some amazing child singers, and there was one more show that got nominated. I can't remember the name of it, but I know it was done by the same people who did Dear Evan Hansen. I wonder what it is. I am also thoroughly surprised by how much I enjoyed this musical. But it is an interesting one, seeing as how it's kind of hard to make a movie about turning a men's shoe factory into a shoe factory for drag queens. Wow, now that I say that out loud, that sounds ridiculously easy. Now, I'm not part of the group who watches shows like RuPaul's Drag Race and RuPaul's Drag Race, but I speak for everyone when I say this musical is charming and funny and makes you cry and reveals the fact that market capitalism is evil and can easily corrupt a man searching for fame. Like every musical nowadays. But on top of that, it teaches men that it's okay to be gay for Billy Porter and to also dress as women even if you don't know anything about drag queens and or have never seen RuPaul's Drag Race. Did I mention this musical is based on a true story?
I've got a brand new shiny helmet and a pair of kinky boots.
Now, I'm gonna be blunt with you. My opinions on this next show are mixed. I hate it, but I like the revival. And even though the story is bad and outdated, I like it. And it's still good, even though it's bad. And if you're still confused about what the show is, all I need to say is, someone in a wheelchair won a Tony. That's right, baby, it's the 2019 revival of Oklahoma. Now, it took me a while, 2 months in fact, to come up with my thoughts for this show. And after thinking about it for 2 months, I realized that this show is a guilty pleasure of mine. I mean, the reason I like this revival could be the fact that they gave us cornbread and chili during intermission. I don't know. It could be because of the representation in the disabled actors community. Because Ali Stroker, who's been in a wheelchair all her life, won a Tony. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm mildly interested that they kept the house lights on for 90% of the show. I don't know! But what I do know about the show is this. The protagonist is actually the villain. Don't believe me? Listen to the song Poor Judd is Dead and then come back to this video. This song is about how the so-called protagonist is convincing the so-called antagonist to kill himself. That's not disturbing at all. Has this show brought out a new light in me? What if I got the interpretations of other shows wrong? Avenue Q could be a social commentary on poverty and porn addiction. Book of Mormon's lead Elder Price could have been born in Uganda and adopted by people from Salt Lake City when they were in Uganda. I could be a schizophrenic and everything around me is in my head and my entire life has been a lie. What do I believe anymore? So yeah, I think this is a good show. You know that moment when you're watching a show, and then you see something that is noticeably wrong and shouldn't be in the show? Well, someone took that scenario and made a 2-hour play out of it, called The Play That Goes Wrong. I saw the show twice. Both times against my will, and both times I saw it, I really liked it. Every actor in the show has amazing comedic timing. You know, something I have jack shit of. And I'm also fairly positive that this show won the Best Set Design Tony, because there's a moment in the show where the stage literally falls apart into pieces. Like, the walls fall down, and there's a guy hanging off of the fucking scaffolding, and it was really funny. Too funny, I would wager, because while I enjoyed it the second time, the first time has a bit of a story to it. I was with about 20 other people at the time, and we had gotten the front row seats on the balcony. And if you don't know this about the show, the actors start the show 15 minutes before the show actually starts. But that has nothing to do with this story in the slightest. Anyways, it was about halfway through the first act, and I was laughing my ass off. I mean, literally 40% of the time I was looking down at the ground, I was laughing so hard. And while in the middle of one of these laughing fits, I forgot to do something very important to the human body, which is called breathing. I blinked, and then we were at intermission and I woke up on the floor. I had been laughing so hard that I passed out in the middle of Act 1. And that is the entire reason the show is at number 7, because too much of anything is a bad thing. God damn it, that sounded so fucking cheesy. Why did I do that? I already messed it up with the Tootsie Roll joke. Why did I do that again?
We did everything wrong. Where did we go right?
And now we've come to the part of the show that I like to call the 3 shows that should have won the 2017 Tony for Best Musical. I will be giving very good reasons for why the piece of shit show known as Dear Evan Hansen should have not won the 2017 Tony for Best Musical. So let's start by talking about the show that arguably made more people cry, Come From Away. Now the reason why I say this is because that I think that this show covers a more serious topic. Because while Evan Hansen is a show about a high schooler getting his way through life with lies and deceit, this show is about the 9/11 attacks. Hear me out, I can explain. Now, I know that I should not be the one talking about this kind of subject, considering... But while this show talks about a really heavy subject to some people, it handles it surprisingly well by talking about it through the perspectives of the people on the planes. It's also talked about through the perspective of the people in Newfoundland, which is spelled like this. It's not pronounced Newfoundland, it's pronounced Newfoundland. Fight me. Actually, no. Fight the English language. Something else that's really cool is that, as it turns out, every single piece of dialogue was taken from interviews with the plane people and the people from Newfoundland. And to top it all off, this show has some good harmonies, amazing singing, and amazing acting. The only problem with this show is that it's a show from Canada. And as we all know, Canada doesn't exist. That's a joke. I don't mean offense to any Canadians.
So I go down to Shappers. So I'm back to Shappers. So I'm back to Shappers.
I feel like we've gotten to the point of the video where a lot of people hate me because I put their favorite shows at very low spots. But I can guarantee that when I reveal the number 5 spot, people are going to want to break into my house and beat the shit out of me. But I am willing to take that risk in order to post my opinions on the internet. So number 5 is Hadestown. Hear me out. I can explain. So a lot of you are probably yelling at your screens right now telling me that Hadestown wasn't nominated in 2017. And if you're confused about why I said that, then clearly you don't get the joke. We're not getting to the next 2017 show until number 4, so let me explain why Hadestown is number 5. You know, I will say this. It is surprising how the popularity of 2 actors stemmed from a really bad musical. Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. But think about it. Reeve Carney and Patrick Page, 2 very amazing actors, played the hero and villain in both of these shows. Coincidence? I honestly don't know. Now, if you didn't know, which you probably do, this show takes a Greek mythological story and mixes it with American folk and jazzy vibes. All of it took over 13 years to perfect because the show was made in 2006. And some of the songs are hit and miss. Some of these songs I do like are Chant, Road to Hell, Why We Build the Wall, I'll get back to that one later, Way Down Hadestown, the song that Orpheus sings to Hayes in order to get Eurydice back, I can't remember the name of it for some reason, Wait for Me, and Hey Little Songbird, which, let's be real, Hey Little Songbird is essentially Hello Little Girl from Into the Woods if the wolf drank 12 bottles of Crystal Pepsi. And all the other songs, look, they're good. They're just not songs that you want to listen to
Over and over again.
But the real reason this show is at number 5, and I shit you not, it's because the first act ends with a political satire song. Trust me, I know where I'm going with this. The first act ends with a song called Why We Build the Wall. And it's a good song, but man, they do not hide the hidden context at all. I will give you a sample of some of the lyrics. Why do we build the wall? We build the wall to keep us free. How does the wall keep us free? The wall keeps out the enemy. And we build the wall to keep us free. That's why we build the wall. We build the wall to keep us free. I wonder who that could be alluding to. I don't know anyone who wants to build a wall to keep out some sort of enemy. It's a real mystery as to who this person is. And you're probably asking yourself, how do you know this is political satire? Well, because I asked Reeve Carney, and he confirmed it for me. He probably hates me.
Look at that flesh, pink and plump.
Hey, little songbird.
Hey, I'm back. Sorry I was gone. I had to check with my producer. also known as r/memes, to check if there was a certain place that existed in the meme world. They gave me a list of all the places that don't exist in the meme world. Canada, Ohio, Wyoming, Florida, North Dakota, South Dakota, Malaysia, Brazil, Texas, Portugal, and Cancun. So that means I can talk about Groundhog Day. This is the second show that should have replaced the disappointed child known as Dear Evan Hansen for the 2017 Best Musical Tony Award, despite the fact that it won none of the Tonys that it was nominated for. I'm still kind of mad about that. And for the two people who haven't seen the movie version of this yet, I will sum it up in one sentence. Snarky weatherman goes to Philadelphia, gets stuck in time loop, has to figure out how to get out of time loop. Basically, it's the classic snarky main character becomes good person storyline, but it's different, because they had time travel into this. I mean, what is this movie trying to be? Back to the Future? Wait, didn't that also become a musical? So you're probably wondering right now, how the f did this show become number 4? Well, the reason for that is because of our Lord and Savior of musical theater. No, the other one. No, the other one. Our Lord and Savior of musical theater, Tim Minchin. Tim Minchin's score is the pièce de resistance of this show and goes hand in hand with this script. For 3 reasons.
Number 1.
A lot of the writing about the script and the songs in the show is hilarious, but some of the writing is almost to the level of Book of Mormon hilarious. Keep in mind, this is from the same man who made this song.
F the motherfucker, f the motherfucker, f the motherfucker, fucking f the motherfucker, f the motherfucker, f the motherfucking Pope. Number 2.
The songs are really good at paralleling to the story, and they hit the emotional beats really well. This is the only cast album that made me teary-eyed. It didn't make me cry, but it almost made me cry.
Number 3.
There is no reason 3, I just put it in here to piss people off who think lists should come in 3s. If I could sum up this show with one word, it would be magical. So, of course, it got taken off Broadway after 177 performances despite rave reviews, and got replaced at the August Wilson Theater with Mean Girls, which is a piece of shit.
Like an alcoholic hamster on one of them little wheelie things.
I am going to anger so many people right now. I feel like no matter what I say, people are going to be angry at me. But in order to get my opinions on the internet, just gotta quickly rip it off like a band-aid. Here we go. I think Beetlejuice is a more enjoyable show to watch than Hadestown. Please don't kill me. Huh. That went better than I thought it would. Let me explain my reasoning, or sin against God as everyone else would call it. Because while Hadestown has the ability to move walls with the power of singing, and the fact that Patrick Page can turn a man gayer faster than Frank Sinatra, and the fact that Hadestown is just better, the people who haven't caught on yet, despite the fact that I literally said it at the very beginning of this video, I rank them on how much I enjoy the show. And I find Beetlejuice to be a more enjoyable show than Hadestown because of one thing and one thing only. Creativity. This show is so goddamn creative. I am so mad it won none of the design Tonys. But before I list my many pros and few cons, I must admit something. I have never seen the Beetlejuice movie. I know, I'm a monster. But the reason for this is because when I heard the musical was coming out, I decided not to see the movie so it wouldn't ruin my perception of how good the musical was. And now that I've seen the musical, Well, I still haven't seen the movie, but I will at some point, I promise. Anyways, yeah, I adored this show with all my heart and soul. A lot of it was because I found out some really cool things while researching for this video. I saw an interview with Alex Brightman, who is amazing in this show, and he can do an amazing thing with his vocal cords. It's a technique that very few people can do. I'll play the interview part right now.
Nope, I just jebaited you, because apparently according to YouTube, if I use that clip in my video, I won't get monetization on this video. So I'm just going to explain it for you. So anyways, according to Alex Brightman, he made a post on his Twitter, here's the handle right now, and talked about how some sciencey institution put a camera down his nose and down his throat to show you how he's doing the Beetlejuice voice. It's a trick called ventricular fold phonation. It uses the false folds which lay above your vocal cords which don't really phonate. But Mr. Brightman can activate them, push them together, and make the Beetlejuice voice. If someone normal were trying to do the Beetlejuice voice, it would feel tickly in the throat. But if he does it, it just feels like breathing to him. So in conclusion, Alex Brightman is a mutant. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking now so you can enjoy the rest of this video.
Some honorable mentions of cool things in the show include the sandworm, which is a giant snake that eats ghosts. For foreshadowing. I also found out how they make Lydia float at the end of the show, and I will not reveal how it is done, because I fear that if I do, Sophia Ann Caruso is going to come for my head.
Dead bird, dead turkey bird.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the show that I think should have won the 2017 Tony for Best Musical instead of that stain known as Garvin Hansen, and by process of elimination, the final nominee for 2017 Tony Award for Best Musical is Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812. And yes, that title is very long. Now some of you are probably thinking, wait, why have I never heard this show? And more importantly, why do you think it should have won? And that's a good question. Now, I don't have a list of all the reasons why I think it's the best show. Reason 1, the source material. Now, if there was a revival of this show, some people might go into it completely blind and not know what the story's about. Like I did. But after listening to the first few lyrics about how you're gonna want to study up a little bit if you want to keep with the plot because it's a complicated Russian novel, I knew exactly what we were getting into. I shit you not, YouTube. This musical is an adaptation of Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace. Dave Malloy, this mad lad, made a sung-through musical about a book that has more pages than the King James Bible. Granted, it's only a 70-page segment of that book, but that's beside the point. Reason 2. The score. The score for this show is Russian folk mixed with classical music, mixed with indie rock, mixed with electric dance music. And Dave Malloy, this mad lad, did everything. He did the lyrics, he did the script. I know those are the same thing. Shut up. He did the music. He f***ing orchestrated the entire thing. And the entire show is sung through, meaning he had to come up with new melodies for a 2.5-hour show. That's f***ing dedication. Now I would like to point out that a lot of the lyrics in this show don't rhyme because, well, a lot of the lyrics were taken straight from the English translation of War and Peace. But that doesn't matter. Music doesn't need to rhyme in order for it to be good. His musical genius doesn't even stop there, because in order to flex on every other Broadway show playing at the time, he had the cast become the orchestra, making this the 4th Broadway show in history to do this. Reason 3. Set design. The production team really went all out for this show, because unlike other shows who restrict the actors to the stage that they're given when they rent out the theater, the set designers just went, nah, f*** it. Let's make the auditorium the stage. What do I mean by this? Well, to give some examples, they installed stairs to the balcony. They took out 200 seats to put in a figure 8 thing. Here's a little picture of that. And then they took those 200 seats that they ripped out and put them on the stage they were given. And you can eat dinner while watching this show for like an extra $500. And reason for? Well, there is no reason for it. Again, I put it in here to piss people off who think lists should come in 3s. And all of these aspects come together to create an almost perfect show. And the reason I say almost is because the plot is confusing as f***. And hey, I don't blame you because it is a complicated Russian novel where everyone has 9 different names. But the plot really is confusing if you don't know what you're getting into. I mean, hey, it's still better than Dear Evan Hansen's script. Wait, what do you mean that won Best Book? 15 entries, 7 months of script writing, 5 months of editing, and 9 pages later, we're here. The creme de la creme. My favorite Broadway show of all time is... Hey! What the f*** do you want? According to YouTube statistics, only a small percentage of people that watch my videos are actually subscribed. So are we really doing this stupid thing that YouTubers do? God, I really am a f***ing sellout. We're doing this for the suspense. Oh, okay, then proceed. So anyways, please subscribe to my channel. It would really help me out, considering I'm a broke-ass computer science major. That's all. Goodbye. Anyway, without further ado, my favorite Broadway show of all time is... The Book of Mormon. And considering that I'm the person who made these 2 videos, you're probably not surprised by this choice. So a lot of you are thinking to yourselves, why is the Book of Mormon, of all shows, your #1 show that you've seen on Broadway? And that's a good question, but first, a little background info. See, the music, lyrics, and script for this show were made in collaboration by Avenue Q composer Robert Lopez with Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Yes. That Trey Parker and Matt Stone. And this trifecta created what I think is the perfect show. They took the comedy of South Park, the crudeness of Avenue Q, the emotional moments from both properties. All 3 of these properties have emotional moments, don't at me, and put them together to create an amazing show. A show that everyone enjoyed and made fun of the Mormon religion at the same time. And if you think the Mormons found this show offensive, well, I'm here to tell you that you're 100% wrong. Not only did they never get a complaint about this show from a Mormon, and not only did this show actually convert people to the Mormon religion, but the Mormon Church advertised themselves in the f***ing playbill. In other words, the Mormons are cool with it and have nothing against the show. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'm running out of things to say. This show is amazing. In fact, some fans of this show might notice that I'm releasing this video on the 10-year anniversary of Book of Mormon's opening. So, Trey Parker, Matt Stone, and Robert Lopez, if you're watching this video, I would just like to say thank you for creating a show that makes people laugh, makes people emotional, and most of all, makes people enjoy Broadway. Once again, thank you. And I say this from the bottom of my heart. This is, and always will be, my favorite show on Broadway. And that's the end of my list. Did you agree with it? Did you disagree with it? Of course you disagreed with it. It's the f***ing internet. Well anyways, leave what you thought should have been #1 in the comments below, as well as video ideas for me to do next. Well either way, I hope that this list opened up your eyes to see why I like some shows over bigger and more popular shows, and let's hope that Broadway will reopen You fool! Oh my god, what now? You said the forbidden word that shall never be named! No, I didn't. I was just talking about how some shows are bigger and more Oh. Quick! Finish the video before she comes! Okay. Please like, please subscribe. If you have an idea for a video that you want me to do, leave it in the comments below. Also, check out my Discord. I'm trying to revive it because it's very dead. Now, I have to end this video really quick before it...
Popular. I'll help you be popular. Hello, I am singing this because if I play the original, I won't get monetization. Popular. This is the end of the video. I'd appreciate it if you subscribe and like the video. I don't know how to rhyme. I'm only still singing cause I need to fill the end card time. Oh wait, wow, that actually rhymed. I didn't even intend that.